That Rudolph guy and his red nose may get most of the hype when it comes to Santa's furry transport team, but he isn't the only caribou who's earned his stripes, or should I say antlers. That's part of what makes this 80s flick a nostalgic centerpiece of the holidays. Most of the time, Santa's reindeer serve as background fixtures at best, so getting a story that centers around one of the less talked about members of his flying troupe is kind of brilliant and one of the many reasons it deserves to be added to your Yuletide viewing schedule if it isn't already. It's in the barn with cookies and oats as JB Huffman and I discuss Prancer from 1989 on this episode of the 80s Flick Flashback podcast. Welcome in, everybody, to the Flick Flashback podcast. I am your host, Tim Williams. Tonight, we're trading the North Pole for a freezing cold farm in Three Oaks, Michigan. It's time to cover the movie that taught us about faith, family, and a very special reindeer. Here to help me nurse this episode back to health and hopefully avoid getting grounded for eternity is the man with the plan, JB Huffman. How you doing, JB?
I'm doing great, man. I've been watching this movie 3 years in a row, and
And we finally got to cover it. Yeah.
in
In preparation.
preparation for this, so I feel like I've done my research this time.
Yes. This is the long-awaited recording. We have literally tried to record this for the last 3 years, and it's just the holidays, man. It just gets crazy busy. But I told him, I said, this year we're gonna do it. Come hell or high water, we're gonna do it. And so we're here. We made it. I watched it again, as JB said, and I'm excited to talk about it. So let's jump in. Since you're already ready and primed, you know how we start. When did you see Prancer for the first time?
Oh man, I've been waiting for this moment ever since you first asked me to be a guest, because he always asks, and I always like, well, I think I watched it when I was a kid on TV,
Right,
because
right.
I was born in 1985.
Yeah.
This was the very first movie that I saw in theaters.
All
And
right.
yes, 1989. I was 4 years old, and my parents took me to see Prancer. So yeah, I can actually say that was a good time. I enjoyed it. There's some memorable moments which we will talk about
Oh,
later.
yeah. Yeah. Yeah, this is not one that I saw in the theater. This is actually one that I don't think I ever really saw until probably about 3 or 4 years ago, or like in the it's been in the last like 5 or 6 years. And then, 89, it came out in 89. I'm, of course, older than JB, so it wasn't quite on my radar. Like, I was more about Christmas Vacation and Scrooged and Lethal Weapon and Die Hard. Those are my Christmas movies as a, you know, preteen, maybe like early teenager. So, yeah, a movie about a girl who finds a reindeer didn't didn't have me rushing to the theater or pulling it off the shelf at Blockbuster. But watching it now, like watching it maybe when I watched it a couple years ago, I think it was okay. But watching it again this week for the getting ready for the podcast, I really appreciated it more. Like, it's just such a sweet, just a good natured, good hearted, simple storytelling movie. It's like it's not a bunch of bells and whistles. It's just kind of one of those, just kind of it's a really comfort movie. It's just something you just kind of want to have on just to feel good and just have some nostalgia. So yeah, so I really enjoyed it. And I think I mean, I think now it will become kind of in my rotation to watch. Maybe not every year, but every couple of years. And of course, we'll talk about that as we get towards the end for our rewatchability and nostalgia meter. But how long is it? So I'm gonna assume that you watch this every year. So has it been a year since you watched it last before rewatching it for the podcast?
Yeah, I don't typically watch it every year, but for the last
Okay.
3 years I have. I think it was probably 4 or 5 years ago. Actually, no, it might have been for the podcast 3 years ago. I went and bought
Mhm.
or 2 years ago, I actually bought the DVD because I think it's only available on DVD.
Oh, okay.
But, yeah, I bought it, it was like $4 or something, but I don't know. Um,
Right.
and so, like, I watched it that year, and then I watched it last year, and then I watched it but before that, I think it's probably been, goodness, before before the 2-year prep for the podcast, I think it's probably been a good, 20 something years, so, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, honestly, I wish this is one that was on TV more during the holidays. Like, it's not one I really see in the rotation. I'm like, why not? Because it doesn't have to be edited. I mean, there's nothing. It's rated G. It's very much family friendly. There's nothing they really have to like. And even for an '80s movie, there's no cringe. You just talk about cringe worthy moments in an '80s movie, and this one doesn't
Mm,
have any. I mean, this one really kind of and it's kind of timeless in the sense of there's nothing that really dates it that I can say. Like it really, you know, it seems like a really just a slice of life of, Three Oaks, Michigan,
mhm,
of like a farm, small town, farm town. So, but yeah, maybe your social media would have been a bigger part if it was remade today, but I think it still works even with like the newspaper article and the newspaper man or whatever. So, but, all right, well, let's talk about story origin and pre-production. So it originated entirely from the imagination of screenwriter Greg Taylor, who wrote the script as an original story. It was not based on sorry, it was not based on existing books or true events. Taylor infused a personal touch by naming the optimistic young protagonist Jessica after his own 8-year-old daughter. The script found its way to director John Hancock and producer Raffaella De Laurentiis, who was launching her own production company and looking for a meaningful feature film to produce with a modest budget under $7 million. The production team, driven by Hancock's vision, prioritized authenticity and sought a genuine Midwestern setting that could capture the film's grounded, non sentimental atmosphere. After scouting locations in Vermont and Canada, Hancock returned to his hometown area, selecting LaPorta, I don't know, Indiana, as the primary filming site. The director utilized his own boyhood home and fruit farm, which production designer Chester Kaczynski transformed for the set, adding a shed, stables, new landscaping, and a cleared pond. Exterior town scenes were filmed in nearby Three Oaks, Michigan. Pre-production also involved careful casting, bringing on board actors like Sam Elliott and Cloris Leachman. A crucial casting decision involved the four-legged star, a real pregnant reindeer named Boo, Boo, was specifically chosen for the role of Prancer because pregnant does retain their antlers through the late winter filming season, ensuring that Prancer looked the part throughout the shoot. This meticulous planning contributed to the touching, timeless story of faith and family that continues to resonate with audiences during the holiday season. So yeah, I was kind of hard to find. There was like no pre-production information on Wikipedia, which is normally where I pull it from, but I was
mhm,
able to kind of scrounge some things together and put something together. But yeah, just kind of like a simple, nice movie that new movie studio was wanting to kind of get in the business with a modest budget, and they were able to do that.
mhm. Yeah, I like that it was just, like, totally original, like,
Mhm.
not based off anything. I mean, it's just, like, got purely out of this guy's imagination, so,
Mm.
yeah.
Yeah, and like I said in the intro, like we're the only reindeer that's really ever gotten any notoriety is Rudolph. You know, so to
Mhm,
like really pull, have a film or a story solely focused on one of the regular reindeer that doesn't really get much, attention. It's kind of a nice touch. Kind of gave it made it makes it more unique for sure. So
and Rudolph is a newbie anyway, he's not even one of the OGs, so,
right.
I
He
mean, come
wasn't an
on now.
original reindeer. Yeah. I was jumping to casting. Of course, we have to talk about the great Sam Elliott as John Riggs, father of the our main character. We've talked about Sam Elliott and some of our other movies, but we'll talk about him a little bit here. Elliott began his career with minor roles on screen, making his film debut in the western The Way West in 1967. After his first leading film role in the horror movie Frogs in 1972, he gained wider attention with his breakthrough role in the drama Lifeguard in 1976. He achieved commercial success with his role in the biopic Mask in '85 and received Golden Globe nominations for starring in Louis L'Amour's adaptation of Conager in 1991 and the miniseries Buffalo Girls in 1995. Throughout the '90s, he portrayed John Buford in the historical drama Virgil Earp in the Western Tombstone '93, which is one of me and JB's favorites of all time. He was also in the miniseries Rough Riders in '97, and he was in the comedy The Big Lebowski in 1998. So he's still working today. You'd find him. I think he's on the new season of Landman on Paramount Plus if you're
Mm.
into that show. But yeah, Sam Elliott, of course, unmistakable voice, unmistakable look. Yeah, so
You could
very
you could smuggle a lot of things in that mustache, man.
yeah, and very like, and this was kind of like an intense movie, like an intense role for him. Like typically the movies I've seen him in, like Virgil and Tombstone, and even like his character in Mask, are much more kind of, or even in Roadhouse with
Mhm.
Patrick Swayze, he usually portrays kind of more of a laid back kind of cool dude kind of persona. All right, so you were talking about Sam Elliott, like he's kind of like angry for this whole movie. It seems like
Yeah, it's
very intense.
definitely out of his typecast for sure. But
Hmm.
more recently, I watched the show The Ranch when it was
Oh yeah, yeah.
and
Netflix, yeah.
that was kind of the angry like old man Sam Elliott from this too. But like, yeah, me and you kind of go way back with Sam Elliott because that was our first podcast together was
That was,
Tombstone.
yeah,
So,
Tombstone, yeah, for manly movies, exactly. So,
hmm but I've always really liked him and all the roles that he's done from
hmm
movies to TV and everything. But I haven't really seen him like as the lead actor in
hmm
really anything. I mean, but he's got some lead acting roles. I just haven't seen them. So,
yeah,
but
yeah, they're kind of few and far between, but he's
hmm
really good
hmm
in the movies he's in. So,
for
all right,
sure.
moving to our main cast member, the movie's kind of based around her, playing Jessica Riggs, Rebecca Harrell. At 18, she starred in A Piece of Eden in the year 2000, along with Tyne Daly. She guest starred in shows such as Third Watch in '99. In 2000, at age 20, she moved from New York to Los Angeles. She worked with director John Hancock in a suspense thriller called Suspended Animation. Later that year, can't talk today. Later that year, she filmed a movie alongside John Ritter, which was shot in one day and was completely improvised by the actors. In 2007, she starred in another horror film, Sugar Creek, after which she quit acting to pursue her dream of environmental activism, filmmaking, and movie production. So, this was her first film role. She was very new to the process. And one little trivia thing I have, the director had her run around for a while before shots, so she would appear red faced and cold for certain scenes, which I thought was pretty cool.
hmm
But yeah, I do want to mention because it just came out recently, but if you want to know more about Rebecca Harrell, you can go check out the latest episode of Retro Life for You with Chris Adams. He's been on the show several times, friend of the podcast, but he had the chance to interview her recently and learned a lot about her experiences filming and what she's up to now with her. She does like environmental documentaries now, but I didn't
Okay.
get to finish listening to the whole episode before recording, so I didn't get too much more out of it, but very sweet. She was interviewed on another podcast, Buzz in the Tower, a couple of years ago, and so I've listened to that one. But she has great things to say about Sam Elliott, Cloris Leachman, like all the cast. Like she learned a lot making the movie, and she said she
hmm
was a lot like her character. Like she was very much. She said she loves Christmas. She loves like her favorite holiday.
Mhm.
So she's like, there's a lot of that character in her, and so she said she still kind of carries that character with her even today. So it's kind of cool.
That's
So go
cool.
check that
Yeah,
out.
I'll check it out.
Yep. Anything to add about her in the role? I mean, she carries the movie well. I mean, I don't, I mean, probably one of the better child actors I've seen in a movie, especially to lead a movie. So, which is
Yeah.
surprising why she didn't do as much after this.
Yeah, I mean, I agree, like, she really, like, for somebody who's got, like, 7 credits to her name, like, she really,
Yeah.
really, like, carried this film and, like, did a
Hmm.
really good job, like, so, yeah, I mean, hats off to her. I mean, this I don't know if it was her first one, but, I mean, it's she she was young.
Hmm. I think she said she was 8 when she filmed this. And so now she has kids that are 8. So she said it's weird. She loves it, but it's also weird like having her kids watch a movie with her at the same age that they are now. And so, which I think is, pretty sweet.
Yeah, and obviously, John Hancock liked her because half of her credits he directed, so
Yeah. Yeah. Yep. She said she ended up doing like a lot of sci-fi and like horror movies, which she finally realized was not the kind of movie she wanted to continue to make, which is why she kind of broke away from it. But all right, next on
yeah.
the list we got Cloris Leachman, who I mentioned earlier as Miss McFarland. In film, she appeared in Peter. I'm sorry, I'm sorry. In film, she appeared in The Last Picture Show in 1971. She was also uh, she was also part of Mel Brooks's ensemble cast, playing Frau Blucher in Young Frankenstein in '74, Nurse Diesel in High Anxiety in '77, and Madame Defarge in History of the World Part One in 1981. So Cloris Leachman's kind of like one of those iconic actresses. I mean, she's been in a ton of stuff. Can't do her full filmography, uh, but she was good in this. Like I can't say she was my favorite character, but I loved her character in this movie. Like just the old lady that starts out. She has the best character, one of the best character arcs. Starts out as like the mean old lady that all the kids are scared of, and then comes
Mhm.
to be like befriends Jesse and becomes like one of her biggest allies by the end, which I thought was really cool.
Sounds like something that, from a John Hughes movie that
Yeah.
or the John Hughes sound like the old man from, Home Alone,
Oh yeah, yeah.
which
Yeah.
came later,
Mhm.
so
Mhm. Could have influenced it. Yeah.
coulda got influence from this movie, so, yeah,
Absolutely.
so but, yeah, I love Cloris Leachman. I think my first experience with her was A Young Frankenstein,
Yeah. Yeah.
which I watched in a film lecture class in college. That was but, yeah, she's been I mean, Bush and Sundance, as you said, High Anxiety as well, Last Picture
Mhm.
Show,
Yep.
and then, um apparently she was in The Longest Yard, and I'm trying to think of who she was in that. Been a while.
Yeah. I just watched that a couple months ago.
The new one?
I watched both of them. Was she in the new one or the original?
She's in the new one.
Oh, okay. Then I don't remember. It was obviously a very small role that she was that she was
Yeah,
part of it. Was she the receptionist for the warden in the new one?
maybe.
Because I know Bernadette Peters was in the original.
Okay.
So
Yeah, it might have been her.
yeah, they kind of flipped that character for the remake where she was an older lady. I think that's right.
Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, we just talked about her in our last episode because we were talking about the Beverly Hillbillies movie that came out because of Jim
Mm.
Varney playing. She played Granny in the Beverly Hillbillies movie. So
Was that
one
in
of
the
my favorites.
'80s?
That was no. We were talking
Okay.
last. We did Ernest Go. We covered Ernest Saves Christmas, which starred Jim
Okay.
Varney, and one of his only
Yeah.
other like big movies he was in was the Beverly Hillbillies
Okay.
movie that came out in the '90s, like early. Was that like '92 or '93? I think. So
It's in the '90s sometime.
yeah, maybe we'll get there eventually. We'll move out of the '80s and then the '90s.
There's so many 80s movies to cover.
I know I may never finish. I'm like, gosh, every time I think I've done a lot, I look at the list like there's still so many left to do.
Mhm.
All right, moving down the list, we got Abe Vigoda as Dr. Oral Benton. He made his first stage appearance at the age of 17. Uh, for the majority of film goers, he first came to prominence in The Godfather, 1972, as the double-crossing Tessio. He had roles in a few nondescript TV films before landing the plum role of Sergeant Phil Fish in the sitcom Barney Miller, which my dad was a big fan of in 75, his best-known role. He also got his own short-lived spinoff, Fish, that came out in 77. He made, in the 90s and beyond, became busy again, making appearances in North in 94, The Misery Brothers in 95, A Brooklyn State of Mind in 98, and Crime Spree in 2003. He continued acting into his 90s, surprising audiences with his entertaining style. Yeah. I saw him in a bunch of comedies, I think, more so later in life. Like, I know he was kind of more of a serious actor earlier in his career, but I always remember him being funny in the few, like, little small roles he had in some later movies, but
Yeah, I think with this one was kinda like one of the most kinda gut-wrenching moments of the movie was whenever she was saying, "You of course, you don't wanna help because you're a doctor and you're a liar. Doctors never help anybody." I'm like and
oh,
she was
yeah.
talking about her mom, like, it was just
Yeah,
like,
yeah,
"Oh gosh."
yeah.
And of course,
This
he
mo
had to do it then.
Yeah. This movie has it's got some heavy moments, which,
Mhm.
I think is what kind of makes it the classic that it is and memorable for sure. All right, moving on, I'm going to mention this Rotanya Alda as Aunt Sarah. I'm mentioning this because she began her career in the late 60s. She went on to have supporting parts in The Deer Hunter in 78, Rocky 2 in 79, and Mommy Dearest in 81. She also appeared in the lead role in the horror films Amityville 2, The Possession, and Girls Night Out, both in 1982. So she has a pretty small role, and it wasn't a face that I necessarily recognized, but I knew the movies she'd been in: Deer Hunter, Rocky 2, Mommy Dearest, Amityville 2. So felt like she needed to be mentioned here.
Mhm.
And then this is the one that got me. Jessica's friend Carol Weatherby was played by Ariana Richards. I did not recognize the name, but I kept looking at her face in the movie like I've seen. She's in something older that I know she's been in. I couldn't think of what it was, but we'll get there.
Mm.
She made her acting debut in an episode of The Golden Girls in '87. Later that year, she made her big screen bow in Into the Homeland, a made-for-cable release that starred Powers Booth. She appeared as Mindy Sterngood in the first Tremors film and reprised her role in the second sequel, Tremors 2, Back to Perfection, that went straight to video. What is she best known for? She portrayed Lex Murphy in the first Jurassic Park movie. She reprised the role briefly in the sequel, The Lost World Jurassic Park. She's been featured in other films such as Angus, where she played a high school cheerleader, and also appeared on television episodes of Empty Nest and Boy Meets World. She had originally auditioned to play Jessica, but director John Hancock had her cast as Carol instead. So, yeah. So, she's from Jurassic Park. That's where I knew her from.
Yeah, I was trying to figure it out too, and I never did go and look it up either, so Jurassic Park's like, "Oh, man, of course it's true."
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Another one, like, great, child actor that I thought would have done more as she grew up, but really
Yeah.
didn't do much after that. And then probably besides Sam Elliott, probably the most well known actor on the film that has a very small part, Johnny Galecki as Billy Quinn.
Mm.
Of course, we know him as Leonard Hofstadter on The Big Bang Theory. He was also David Healy on Roseanne and The Connors. He did this movie and National Lampoon's Christmas Vacation, both in '89. He's
Mhm.
also been in I Know What You Did Last Summer in 1997, In Time in 2011, and Rings in 2017. But yeah, good old Johnny Galecki. He looks much younger in this than he does in Christmas Vacation. But I think, of course, this one was filmed in the winter the year before, and Christmas Vacation was filmed in the summer. So this one,
Mhm.
he's he he aged a little bit in like the 6 months between filmings of this one and Christmas Vacation. So
As kids do.
yep, yep. And
Yeah.
then the last person I'll mention, just because I knew all the movies he was in, but I was like, it took me a second to remember who he was. Mark Rolston as Herb Dreyer. He's the the butcher, was he a butcher, I think, that ends up buying Prancer
Mm-hmm.
and puts Prancer in the makes Prancer part of his marketing campaign. But he made his film debut as PFC Drake in Aliens in '86, best known for supporting roles in films like Lethal Weapon 2, Shawshank Redemption, Rush Hour, The Departed, the Saw film series, and on TV he's played Gordon Lyman on The Shield. He was in Turn, Washington Spies, and he's the voice of Lex Luthor on Young Justice from 2010 to 2022. So, but yeah, once I saw his face, it's like, oh yeah, I've seen that guy in a bunch of stuff.
Shawshank.
Shawshank.
When I first saw it, I was like, "Oh, that's the creepy dude from Shawshank."
Yeah, he tends to play a creepy, kind of a creepy looking dude. So this one he's not
Mm-hmm.
as creepy, but yeah.
Uh-huh.
All right, anybody else from the cast that you wanted to mention, or anybody I missed, or anything to add?
I think you covered it.
Yeah, it's not a huge cast, so
Jesse Bradford was in Bring It On, by the way.
well, there you go.
He played boy number 1 in this movie.
In this movie, yeah, there are a couple of groups there. So
Yeah, but he had a much bigger role in Bring It On, and
yeah. All right, well, it's time to talk about iconic and favorite scenes. So, JB, when somebody says Prancer, what's the first scene that pops into your head?
I think really, well, when the Prancer falls at the beginning is pretty memorable, but I think
Mhm.
to me it's always like whenever she's hanging in the tree, like when she
Mhm.
fell out of the tree and Prancer came and saved
Mhm.
her, like, you know,
Yeah.
busted out and said, that's to me, this is the one moment that I think of, and so it's his friend who nursed him back to health, and he's coming to her rescue.
Mhm. Yeah, like I said, there's not a lot of this. I don't have a, whole lot of nostalgia for this one because I saw it later, but when I think of Prancer, I mainly think of like the ending with her waiting to see like where did he go? Did he jump off the cliff? And
Mm-hmm.
just that moment of, with her and Sam Elliott and them, and it's kind of like he's hoping that he's starting to believe like maybe it is Prancer. I need to see Prancer, fly away. So
Mm-hmm.
that's what kind of stands out to me. But yeah, the tree scene is really good too. So, and I like the scene where I kind of getting into kind of favorite scenes now, but I like the scene when she's supposed to be cleaning Cloris Leachman's house, and she's looking for, and she's kind of decorated the room for like Christmas and tried to scare her or whatever, but or surprise her. I like that. I like that scene a lot. Just kind of
Mm-hmm.
building that relationship. And then
Oh yeah.
when she doesn't want to, when she starts to not believe, and then all the townspeople come outside the house and are like singing and showing the support. So
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
a lot of feels moments in this movie.
Mm-hmm. For sure.
So what favorite scenes
Yeah.
do you have?
Well, as far as feels go, I I really like it whenever the brother who was just like a total turd to her the entire movie ends up going with her to try to bust Prancer out.
Mhm.
I just thought
Mhm.
that was real, and when he told her, like, "I may not understand you, but I still love you,"
Yeah.
and,
Yeah.
like, he
Great
goes
line.
to help. Oh, no, right?
Mhm.
But yeah, that's really good, but I think the one that just kinda sticks out to me that I love it every single time, and it's at the very beginning whenever she asks her dad, "Are we poor?" And he's like, "No, we're not poor, we're just down on our luck." He said, "Are we gonna
Mhm.
starve?" And he said, "No, we're not gonna starve. We got apples. You can
Yeah.
have you can you can eat applesauce and
Right.
apple
Right.
pie and apple
Mhm.
dumplings," and he's just naming off all these apple things. It's just so funny. And then he's like, "Nah, we're not gonna starve.
Mhm.
We got apples."
Great scene. Yeah. Oh, and then the other scene that I love, and it's just kind of like it's such a kind of a lighthearted but good moment is when Prancer gets loose, but Sam Elliott doesn't know, and he's reading the paper, and you see Prancer in the back, outside the window, and he's turning around, like just that's such a great scene too. Just like that, you see it in the background, and he's oblivious to what's going on around him, and then when all the
Mhm.
townspeople show up, he's like, has no idea why they're there. But yeah, I love that scene as well. Any other scenes you got?
I gotta mention this. Um, I like it's kind of like a theme that plays out throughout the entire movie, but the opening scene where it starts off and she's in the classroom and they're all singing and she's singing like
Oh yeah,
really, really
really
loud
loud.
and
Yeah,
obnoxious.
yeah, yeah.
And the teacher like tells her, "Is like, can you sing softer, please?"
Mhm, mhm,
But I love it because like it's just like it fits with her personality because
mhm,
she's just so like intense and like boisterous and like about everything. The fact that she's just singing with every single fiber of her being, like she's just, I'm gonna belt this thing out because I love it. She
yeah,
loves
yeah,
singing. She loves
yeah.
Christmas, and it's like it's all
Mhm,
it's all about what she loves. And so, and it also reminds me of, which I can't say this anymore because she's not as into it as she used to. But my daughter, she's still in choir, but she doesn't love it as much as she used to. But
mhm.
couple years ago, I actually wrote this down in my first sets of notes from when I watched it 2 years ago. That she because apparently back then she was still like this, but she would always like anytime I would watch her sing. She's always had her mouth open, like huge, like just belting it out, and I was just like,
Mhm,
yeah, that's what I'm talking about. Open that mouth up, get it out there.
mhm.
So,
Yeah, and that, you know, not a triggering moment, but I don't know if you had ever had one of those choir directors of you sang in choir where they would, like, single out, like, trying to find out who's the person that's off key or the one that's too loud, like, "Just this section. Okay, now just those 4.
mm-hmm,
Okay, now just those
mm-hmm,
2." You're like, "Oh gosh,
yep,
it's coming to me." So
uh-huh.
but usually we would sing softer because we didn't wanna get called out, but she was singing full voice, all the gusto, no matter
Oh
what.
yeah.
So, but yeah, great scene. And then you hear it later, like when I think there's another scene later where they're singing and you can hear her above everybody else, which I thought was great.
Mm-hmm. Also, like, I really like that, you know, last scene with her and I guess it's not the last scene, but with her and Sam Elliott, there's a really like father daughter touching moment where he says, I can't tell you that things are going to be all right. We could lose this farm one day, and I could bear that, but what I can't bear is what I saw last night. The thought
Mhm.
that you wouldn't be around.
Mhm. Mhm.
I mean, that's throughout the movie, they talk about being poor and, I can't give you anything for Christmas. And she's like, it's okay, Dad. And he's like, no, it's not. But like at the end, you really see that like it's not about what you can give your kid. It's about
Mhm.
being with your kid. So,
Mhm. Mhm. Yeah. So many good lessons.
hmm
Once again, put this back on TV. Put it back in the Christmas
please,
rotation. Come on.
man, like what a
Come
Christmas
on.
movie, man. Like,
Yeah, I know.
I mean, talk about Christmas. I mean, Die Hard's like one of my all time favorite movies, but
Mhm.
this is like legit, like Christmassy, like all
Mhm.
the
Mhm.
Christmas spirit and everything. Like, you want to talk about a quintessential Christmas movie? This is
Mhm.
it, man. This is one like top five in that category
Mhm.
like, to me. Like,
Yeah.
so
Yep.
even It's a
I
Wonderful Life isn't really about Christmas, and I know that's like,
say what? No, just kidding. My friend Ron, like he doesn't watch it at Christmas. He watches it on New Year's Eve. He's like, it's a New Year's Eve movie. It's not a Christmas movie. I'm like, well, kind of right. So
uh,
yeah, yep. So we'll get that hashtag running. We'll be we'll be trending in no time. Make
mm-hmm,
Prancer a Christmas movie again.
please.
All right, well, let's talk about some scenes and let's talk about some trivia. May make us think of some other scenes. Not a lot of trivia for this movie either. So, but we talked about the scene where I talked about where she surprises Cloris Leachman by decorating her house. She makes a line about, you used to have the best lights and, you don't do it anymore. And so then then it shows Cloris Leachman down in front of the house, and you've got this little girl on top putting the lights on the rooftop. So Rebecca Harrell was actually hoisted up by a crane and tethered, strapped to it for the rooftop scene. The crane was around the other side of the house, out of sight. So yeah, got to be safe in that instance.
For sure.
Another thing, a mechanical deer was used in certain scenes. According to director John Hancock, the mechanical deer was used for shots showing the deer's perspective. The camera was mounted right to the back of the deer head. Camera view shows the deer antler, top of head, and nose. This way, whatever direction the mechanical deer was pointed, you would see whatever was in front of it. So they primarily used a live deer, which I think they picked that deer also because of the rapport it had with Rebecca, with the girl. So which you could see, like there seemed to be like a chemistry between, a fondness of like the protectiveness, even, whether it's just how they got it shot or if it was actually right there. It feels believable, which is important.
Yeah, for sure.
So, yeah, I don't know if I want to share this one or not. Well, let's talk about it. So, I'll ask you the question: the ending. Do you believe that it was actually Prancer joining Santa's sleigh, or was that just her imagination?
Oh yeah, it was. Yeah, sure.
He's a true believer, folks. True believer.
I am. I'm a believer. Yeah, I think it was.
Mm-hmm.
Because Santa's real. We all know this.
Right. So, director John Hancock insists that Prancer's fate should be left open to interpretation, but the studio wanted a more definitive answer. Originally, Hancock decided on an elaborate special effects sequence showing Prancer's journey to Santa's sleigh, but was scrapped in favor of a more simplistic animated sequence. But Hancock claims that the shot of Prancer rejoining Santa is all in Jessica's mind. But I think it was real. I was watching though this time because because when she said, "Do you hear the bells?" I was waiting for Sam Miller to hear the bells too, which he doesn't really say if he does or not, but he kind of think he does. So it's like, yeah, but he believes.
Yeah.
He believes. So last little bit of trivia: the 35-year celebration of the Prancer movie, called Prancer Palooza, was celebrated in Three Oaks, Michigan, and La Porta, Indiana, on December 14th, 2024, just last year. This was a 2-day event to tour the filming locations and meet the actors and director of the film. The miniature town shown at the end of the Prancer movie during the end credits was on display in the Heritage Hall in Three Oaks. I think they also had one of the mechanical reindeer props that they used. So I was like, man, if we would have done this movie back 3 years ago, we would have known this was coming. We could have gone, and then we could have had a backup episode to talk about Prancer Palooza. But maybe they'll do one for the 40th year anniversary in a few years, and we'll meet up there.
Oh yeah, that'd be great.
Have you been to that area before? Have you been to Michigan, Indiana, like those areas ever?
I have never been there. I mean, I've been to Indiana. It's been a long time ago, and I've been I haven't been to Michigan. Hadn't really been in much of the Midwest or like the Northeast. So
Great Lakes area. Yeah.
Yeah.
I've been, my wife's from Chicago, so we've been through Indiana, and we've been a little bit in Michigan. So yeah. But more just seeing it from the interstate, not so much, the rural parts. It's hard word to say, rural areas that this movie shows. So, all right, let's talk box office. Prancer opened on November 17th, 1989 in American theaters. It was a rough week. In its opening weekend, it placed 7th at the box office behind other new releases. There were 4 other new releases that week. All Dogs Go to Heaven, which debuted at number 5, Steel Magnolias at number 4, The Little Mermaid at number 3, and Eddie Murphy Harlem Nights was number one, but it did earn a domestic total of $18 million with an estimated budget of around $7 million. So it made it was a financial success. I mean, it made back its money. So, and really, I looked at the box office Mojo. I looked, it it stayed at number seven during week two, and actually had an increase of ticket sales. So people went and saw it the first week. I think good word of mouth helped it to have a good, second run, and actually stayed in the top 10 for a good couple of weeks. So it wasn't like quickly forgotten about. It wasn't as big of a hit, of course, as the other ones, that came out that week. But I think it did good for what it was. So for a $7 million budget to make 18 million, you did all right.
And you got to come out right before Tango and Cash too, man. That's tough.
The last 80s movie released,
The last 80s movie, yes.
which we've also covered on both of our
Mhm.
podcasts. So,
That's correct.
all right, it's time to take a look at how well this 80s flick holds up today. It's the rewatchability and nostalgia meter, patent pending. It's our way of measuring how enjoyable a movie is for repeat viewings, along with the waves and nostalgia it brings. Here's how it works. It's a 1 to 10 scale. Any number between 1 and 10 will do, but here are a few parameters to help you decide. At the bottom of the meter is a number 1. It says, I saw it once and that was enough. In the middle is a 5. It's a good rewatch every couple of years. And the highly coveted at the top of the meter, a number 10, which means it's highly rewatchable and full of nostalgia. So, JB, where does Prancer land for you on the rewatchability and nostalgia meter?
Well, I have watched it for the last 3 years, every year,
On purpose.
but on purpose. Yeah, I mean, this is one that I could probably have on rotation between every couple of years, like, because I said, I mean, it's like the quintessential Christmas movie, and
Hmm.
so I guess I'm gonna have to go with 6, 7.
No, 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 not on this podcast. Gosh.
So 6
I'm
or
sorry,
7.
everybody. This was it's so good to have you, JB. I'm sorry we'll never have you on the show again. I'm just kidding. So
Remember, I coached little kids.
yeah, you can't get away from it. You can't get away from it, no matter how hard you
It's
try.
it's hilarious though. Uh, I'll say
So
6
pick
or
one. Is
7.
it 6 or 7?
Okay. I just wanted to say that. um, I'll I'll bump it up, man, just because I'll just love it, and like I said, it is my first movie theater experience, so
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I'll say 7 because I mean it's like there's so many good wholesome moments in the movie, and the whole movie is wholesome in and of
Mm-hmm.
itself.
Yeah.
So like you could watch this with your kids, you could watch it by yourself, like kids could watch it on their own. Like it's just like it's for everybody.
Mm-hmm.
And
Mm-hmm.
we need more movies like this in our
Yeah.
lives.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. I love it. Yeah. Yeah. Once again, it's not gonna rank high for me on nostalgia. But I do really like it, and I think, like I said, I appreciated it more this time. I can't go as high as a 7 just because of the nostalgia factor for me.
mhm,
But I will give it a 6. I think 6 is good. Like it is one that I'm gonna want to watch, like I said, every couple of years. So yeah, I'm happy with that. I think if I would have saw it when I was younger, I probably would probably it would probably be one that I would want to watch more regularly. But yeah, but like I said, I appreciate it more for what it is now. So
for sure.
awesome. Well, thanks, JB. No, stop. All right, so let us know where you think Prancer should rank on the rewatchability nostalgia meter. You can send us an email, let us know on social media, or you can leave us a comment right here on YouTube if that's where you're watching the podcast today. Well, thank you, JB, for joining. It only took us 3 years to record this episode, but I'm glad we finally got to do it. It finally happened. Anything exciting going on in your podcasting world? I'm going to ask you every time, is Manly Movies coming back? 2026?
Man, I wish every time I think it's gonna happen, it's just like something else happens in my life, and one of these
I get
days,
it.
man, one of these days. Uh, so we'll see.
Okay. Well,
I don't
go
I
back
don't
and
have
listen to the other
nearly
episodes. Yeah.
I don't have nearly as much optimism about it as I used to. So like I'm just like it'll happen when it happens, I guess.
Well, the old
Uh,
episodes are still there. You can always go back and listen to those. And it was a great show. It was a limited edition. It was it was a limited series. So Manly Movies, the limited series podcast. So get what you can while you can.
my goal was to hit 100, so like I feel like I need to like ramp that up at some point and just
At
power
least get to
through it,
100.
man. Yeah.
Yeah. Because you still got some that you've recorded that haven't been edited. You haven't released, right?
I've got like 5 or 6,
Oh, wow.
and I'm surprised those guest hosts haven't hit me up in the last couple of years. So,
They might have
well,
forgotten about it by now. So I think I
might
talked
have.
about this movie with somebody. I got to go find that. So, yeah. All right. Well, we are wrapping up 2025. This is the last episode of the year. So hopefully you'll be back with us in 2026. We're going to start off the month of January. It's going to be a comedy filled January. We're gonna tackle the parodies. Well, 2 are parodies and 1 is pretty close to being a parody. So we'll get 3 episodes in January. So look forward to those. We're gonna do Airplane, Naked Gun, and Police Academy. So I feel like we just
Nice.
need a good laugh here to start the year off in 2026. So look forward to those episodes coming out. But if you enjoyed this episode, leave us a 5-star review on Apple Podcast. Be sure to follow or subscribe so you never miss an episode. We'd love for you to support the show by becoming a partner at buymeacoffee.com. Jump online and visit the website 80sflickflashback.com or our T Public store for some awesome 80s Flick Flashback merch and original designs. There are some Christmas designs that did come out this year. It might be too late to get them before Christmas, but go ahead and buy them. You can wear them next year. Or wear a Christmas t-shirt all year round. Let them know your Christmas spirit still lives. Thanks again, everybody, for tuning in. Thank you, JB, for being here. I'm Tim Williams for the 80s Flick Flashback Podcast. Merry Christmas and happy holidays.